In Bolivia, social movements gathered in the Unity Pact announced that they could call for counter-marches and blockades if pressure actions from Santa Cruz persist. Russia approved new naval doctrines on the occasion of the National Day of the Russian Navy. The new guideline identifies the United States as the main threat. And Senegal holds parliamentary elections this Sunday. The opposition aims to gain influence ahead of the 2024 presidential elections. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. In Bolivia, social movements gathered in the Unity Pact announced that they could call for countermarches and blockades if pressure action from Santa Cruz persists under the excuse of delaying the national census. In a press conference at the People's House, the Executive Secretary of Bolivia's Central Labor Union, COP, Juan Carlos Huarachi, said that the Unity Pact met this Friday with President Luis Arce and Vice President David Choquehuanca. Huarachi said that during the meeting they highlighted the importance of carrying out an absolutely technical and responsible census process. Therefore, they call on the representatives of Santa Cruz to reflect and focus on unity, but also warned they will not allow them to politicize the population and the census, nor will they allow them to affect workers, merchants, transporters, and all those who are part of the economic and productive reconstruction of the country. This Saturday, the former president and candidate for the presidency of Brazil, Luis Inácio Lula da Silva, heads a campaign rally where he officially launches his candidacy for the government of the Brazilian state of Ceará. The activity started at 11 o'clock local time this morning and takes place at the Fortaleza Event Center. Alemano de Freitas was introduced as candidate for the governor of Ceará and the former governor Camilo Santana as senator of the Republic. According to sources, the credentials were handed out at 9 o'clock in the morning in a previous act in which the candidates met with former President Lula. The event was part of the beginning of Lula da Silva's campaign, who according to polls leads the voting intention for October's elections in the country. Brazil's health ministry confirmed the South American nation's first death related to monkeypox. In a press conference, the Ministry of Health Executive Secretary Daniel Pereira said the victim was a man living in the state of Minas Gerais who had low immunity, other relevant comorbidities, and a history of chemotherapy treatment. The cause of death provided was septic shock aggravated by monkeypox. Brazil has so far registered more than 1,000 cases of monkeypox in 16 states, mostly Sao Paulo.
The Ministry of Health has been notified about one death related to monkeypox. It's a patient with other relevant comorbidities and a history of chemotherapy treatment. And there was an indication that the reason of death was related to the virus. We're investigating the prevalence of these comorbidities to this end.
We'll take a short break now. Join us again after this. Welcome back From the South. This Sunday, President Vladimir Putin approved by decree the new Russian naval doctrine and the updated version of the naval regulations within the framework of Naval Day celebrations. The announcement took place in the History Museum of St. Petersburg, inside the Peter and Paul Fortress. The document lists 10 major challenges and threats to national security and sustainable development of the Eurasian giant in the maritime dimension. According to the new naval doctrine, the demands of the United States for dominance in the world ocean and the growth of NATO's activity are the main challenge for Russia. Among other matters, it provides for the formation of naval logistical support bases in Asia-Pacific states. The signing of the document took place before the parade on Navy Day. During the ceremony, Russian President Vladimir Putin reviewed the ships lined up in the Kronstadt harbor in the Gulf of Finland. This Sunday's naval parade, which coincides with the 326th anniversary of the Navy, was attended by over 40 ships, 42 assets, and more than 3,500 troops. During his speech, the head of state highlighted the Russian Navy's capabilities, stating that it can give a striking response to anyone who dares to attack Russia's sovereignty and freedom. Alexander Vučić, president of Serbia, made a statement this Sunday to avoid a new escalation of tensions with Kosovo. The ruler made a statement following measures of the self-proclaimed Republic of Kosovo, which resumed the imposition of limitations for cars with Serbian license plates. According to the new decree, drivers of the Serbian minority will have to change the license plates of their cars for those of Kosovo to be able to circulate in the self-proclaimed republic. The Serbian president called on the Kosovo authorities to seek peace, despite the fact that on February 17, 2008, the government of Kosovo declared its unilateral independence from Serbia. The Serbian legislation and authorities still consider it part of their country. The International Organization for Migration reported that 192 people have died in 2022 during their journey through Central American countries and Mexico. The IOM stated that from 2014 to date, more than 1,000 asylum seekers or refugees died while crossing the aforementioned territories, a journey carried out by those who want to get to the United States. According to the Intergovernmental Organization Initiative Missing Migrants Project, more than 1,000 people while traveling across the Americas in 2021, among them at least 51 children. The agency also noted that more than 700 of such deaths occurred at the border crossing between the U.S. and Mexico. Given the situation, the IOM and the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees call on governments to protect the lives and rights of people who migrate. The World Health Organization spokeswoman Margaret Harris warned of an unusually large outbreak of monkeypox worldwide, declaring a public health emergency of international concern as the virus transmission mode is still unidentified. Monkeypox is a rare viral disease that is usually transmitted through body fluids, respiratory droplets, and other contaminated materials. The disease usually results in fever, rash, and swollen lymph nodes. There have been sporadic outbreaks of monkeypox in the world since the 1970s. But the current outbreak is unusually catastrophic. The most sort of classic sign that indicates you got monkeypox are the little blisters on the skin. The blister may be on the hands, feet, or face, as well as less noticeable parts such as inside the mouth or genitals, which raises the risk of person-to-person transmission.
The symptoms, it usually starts with feeling tired, as often happens with any virus, a fever, muscle aches, really there's some what we call malaise, where you just feel terrible, you feel ill. Now that can be any kind of virus, but then it moves to having swelling of the lymph nodes, quite often around the neck and other parts of the body. And the most sort of classical sign that indicates you've got monkeypox are these little bubbles, little blisters on your skin.
And we have more news coming up after a final short break, so don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. Senegal is holding a legislative election this Sunday, a vital test for opposition parties who are trying to minimize the ruling party's influence before the 2024 presidential election amid worries that President Macky Sall may seek a third term. About 7 million voters are eligible to elect 165 deputies in the National Assembly amid a politically tense atmosphere in the West African nation. Violent protests broke out last year after Sall's main opponent, Ousmane Sonko, was arrested on rape charges and more than a dozen people were killed. Senegal, with a population of 17 million, is known for its stability in a region that has seen coups in 3 countries since 2020 and where leaders have changed laws to remain in power for third term. Sunday's election will give a clear indication of what could happen in 2024. Supporters of Muqtada Sall stormed into Iraq's parliament on Saturday for the second time this week in a deepened political crisis. All this happened months after elections that failed to lead to formation of a new government. The demonstrators waved Iraqi flags and pictures of the cleric inside the legislature. Once inside, they declared an open-ended sitting and claimed they would not leave until the demands were answered. Iraqi security forces initially used tear gas and sound bombs to repel the protesters. They also fired tear gas near the entrance to the Green Zone, home to foreign embassies and other government buildings, as well as parliament. Some protesters on the bridge were injured and carried off by their fellow demonstrators.
We entered the parliament building for the third time to root out the corrupt political parties and militias. We're here to fix Iraq and get it back to its position by the word of people and with God's blessing and our leader, Muqtada al-Sadr. This is a message to the parliament members from the Iraqi people. It's over. The authority of this parliament is over and the power is for the people, and people will decide the destiny.
Chinese State Council and Foreign Minister Wang Yi on Saturday met with Kyrgyz counterpart Zhimnik Kulubayev. China and Kyrgyzstan have agreed to strengthen their comprehensive strategic partnership, Chinese State Councilor and Foreign Minister Wang Yi said, adding that both countries are committed to building a China-Kyrgyzstan community with a shared future. Wang made the remarks during a press briefing after a meeting with Kyrgyz Foreign Minister Zhimnik Kulubayev. He also vowed to jointly build the Belt and Road Initiative and deepen mutually beneficial cooperation. He said that China will firmly support all measures taken by Kyrgyzstan to safeguard national sovereignty, security, and social stability, and formally oppose external interference in its internal affairs. The government of Egypt confirmed its objection and rejection of Ethiopia's decision to unilaterally proceed with the filling of the Grand Renaissance Dam, built uphill of the Nile River. In a letter to the Security Council, Egypt's Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry described the unilateral filling as a clear violation of the 2015 Declaration of Principles Agreement and international law. Shoukry stressed that although Egypt has been committed to the need to reach an agreement on the Grand Renaissance Dam that meets the common interests of Egypt, Ethiopia, and Sudan, it will not tolerate any harm to its rights or to the hydraulic security of Egyptian people. In this regard, he asked the Security Council to guarantee the implementation of its presidential statement that compels the three countries to negotiate to reach an agreement on the dam. And in the framework of the agricultural summit held in Beirut, Minister of Agriculture from Lebanon, Iraq, Jordan, and Syria called for the need to launch an Arab common market to improve trade exchanges and address food shortages in order to achieve food integration, especially in light of the difficulties and the global food crisis. In the final statement of the meeting in Beirut, the ministers underscored the need to set unified models for phytosanitary and veterinary health certificates among the four countries based on international standards. They also emphasized the importance of sharing information on diseases, epidemics, and agricultural disasters, as well as the adoption of joint mechanisms to fight them. They also agreed to cooperate with Arab and international organizations to promote projects aimed at tackling the effects of climate change on the agricultural sector and improve food security. And we have come to the end of this newspaper. Remember, you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Telegram. For TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.